You know, I did Long Street for Paramount, and Paramount wants me to be in a television series. On the other hand, Warner Brother wants me to be in another one, but both of them, I think, they want me to be in a modernized type of a thing.
Bruce Lee had this idea about a kung fu prodigy. He had notes about that. He had notes about the character, Assam, and this really nice encapsulated story about a time period that I really wasn't very familiar with.
You want to do the Western, eh?
I want, because you see, how else can you justify all these punching and kicking and violence except in the period of the West?
We had a treatment, which at the end of the day, it's a handful of pages and a lot of notes, but we didn't have a full-fledged series or pilot. We needed to find somebody to help us write this and create this world.
Nowadays, I mean, you don't go around on the street kicking people or punching people. Because if you do, that's it. I mean, I don't care how good you are, you know.
We wanted to tell a different story. I mean, oftentimes when you have, especially the Kung Fu story, I know I've heard the pitch 100 times. White man goes to Asia and, you know, has to fight the bad guys. What we really loved about this is that this is a young Asian man who comes to America who is kind of on his own identity search.
I was finishing up another show at Cinemax called Banshee, and Justin Lin had tracked down Shannon Lee and found out about this notion they had from Bruce Lee for a TV show. By then, the guys at Cinemax knew that I was a big martial arts fan and a big Bruce Lee fan, so they introduced Justin and me.
When Jonathan sat down with us, it was so clear that though he's a fan of martial arts, he was talking theme, he was talking character, and I felt like that was the best way to start this process.
The more I dug into it, the more I became really excited about unearthing what went on during that time period. I knew vaguely that a lot of Chinese had come over for the gold rush, and then a lot of them had come over for the work to build the railroad. So I was aware of that whole immigration, but I had no idea what the politics of it were. I didn't know what the Tong Wars were, and I certainly wasn't aware of what life was like in Chinatown at that time. And I guess I could have imagined the racism and the prejudice that existed at that time, but I was just never aware of how sharply it manifested for the Chinese living in America in the late 1800s.
This is part of American history that has been totally ignored. This Chinese-American migration, that is so important to our country. That chapter has never been really showcased. On another level, I want to be part of a show where we have three-dimensional Asian American characters.
I was sitting in the Perfect Storm offices with Justin and Danielle and Jonathan, and we were talking about the show, and I got this hit, and I just thought, this is gonna be good.
The first script, the pilot script, Jonathan really came in and created this whole world that had the Assam story and the immigration experience, but also had these like very sophisticated political machinations, but was really fun and really pulpy, and all these different characters that populated that world so beautifully.
For me, it was that day where we all looked at each other and say, okay, this is it, we're ready to go. This show is the culmination of a lot of the elements for me personally in my career coming together to tell a story that is compelling and that has great characters regardless of their background. It really celebrates kind of what Bruce Lee is all about. It's about going out there and having an idea and creating an opportunity for people to come in and seize it.
What I'm hoping to do in film is to raise the level and do it.